Finn was a master of the known world. His world was a small, peaceful valley cradled by a ring of impassable mountains. He was the valley's mapmaker, and his work was perfection. Every stream, every boulder, every ancient tree was rendered on his parchments with breathtaking precision. His maps were so accurate that a person could use them to navigate his entire world with their eyes closed. Finn was proud of his work. He had mapped every inch of his reality, and he believed his work was complete. His thinking was as contained as his valley. He dreamed of smaller, more detailed maps, a map of a single wildflower patch, a map of the pebbles in the riverbed. His ambition was to know his small world perfectly. The concept of a world beyond the mountains was not a dream. It was a foolish fantasy. One day, a stranger arrived in the valley. This was unheard of, as no one ever came over the mountains. She was an old woman named Anya, her face a roadmap of wrinkles, and her eyes holding a light that seemed to reflect 1,000 distant horizons. She moved with the slow, steady grace of someone who had walked the earth for a very long time. She came to Finn's small workshop and admired his maps. "Your work is beautiful," she said, her voice like the whisper of a faraway wind. "You have a perfect understanding of your world." Finn beamed with pride. "It is the only world," he said confidently, "and I have mapped all of it." Anya smiled, a knowing, mysterious smile. "Have you? Then I have a commission for you. I want you to draw me a map." "A map of what?" Finn asked, ready to display his mastery. "A map," she said, her eyes twinkling, "to the other side of the moon." Finn stared at her, speechless. Then he laughed. "That's impossible," he said. "It's absurd. The moon is a light in the sky. There is no other side, and even if there were, there is no path to it." "Your maps show how to get from one known place to another," Anya replied calmly. "But the most important maps, the ones that change the world, show the path to a place that does not yet exist in your reality. Draw me the map." For the next week, Finn was haunted by her request. He tried to dismiss it as the ramblings of a crazy old woman, but the challenge burrowed into his mind. He was a mapmaker. He solved spatial problems. He tried to approach it logically. He drew the valley, the sky, the moon. He drew lines and calculated impossible angles. Every attempt ended in a crumpled piece of parchment and a surge of frustration. It was a problem his small world thinking could not solve. Finally, defeated, he sought out Anya. He found her sitting on a hilltop, looking not at the valley, but up at the snow-capped peaks of the mountains. "I can't do it," he admitted, his voice full of shame. "Your map is impossible. It cannot be drawn." "You are trying to draw the destination," Anya said softly, not taking her eyes off the peaks. "But a big idea is not about the destination. It is about the direction. You think I want a physical path to the moon? No. I want to see how a man like you, a master of the known, would dare to imagine the unknown." She turned to him. "When I was a young woman, I lived in a valley just like this one. I was told these mountains were the edge of the world, but I refused to believe it. My big idea was to see what was on the other side of that peak." She pointed to the highest, most treacherous mountain. "I spent a year drawing a map. Not a map of the path, because none existed. I drew a map of the asterisk possibilities asterisk, a map of the equipment I would need, a map of the food I would have to grow and preserve, a map of the skills I would have to learn, how to tie knots, how to read the stars, how to survive the cold. That was my map. The goal was not to conquer the mountain. The goal was to become the person who asterisk could asterisk." Finn listened, his mind reeling. He had always seen maps as a record of what asterisk is asterisk. He had never considered that a map could be a plan for what asterisk could be asterisk. "Thinking big, Finn," Anya continued, "is not about having a perfect, detailed plan to achieve the impossible. It is about letting an impossible idea stretch your mind. It is about letting a goal so huge and audacious force you to grow in ways you never imagined. The goal of reaching the moon is what inspires us to invent the rocket. The goal of curing a disease is what inspires us to understand the cell. The destination is just a star to navigate by. The real journey is in what you become along the way. Finn went back to his workshop. He looked at his perfect, complete maps of the valley, and for the first time, they felt small. They felt like a cage. He took out a fresh, enormous piece of parchment, the biggest he had ever used. He did not draw a path to the moon. Instead, he began to draw his valley. But this time, he drew it differently. He drew lines that went asterisk beyond asterisk the streams, showing where irrigation channels could be built to make the barren lands fertile. He drew lines that went asterisk over asterisk the mountains, not as barriers, but as pathways, sketching out designs for bridges and tunnels. He drew new villages in empty spaces, connected by roads that didn't exist. He was no longer mapping his world. He was reimagining it. He was thinking big. He never finished that map because it could never be finished. It was a living document of potential, but it became his life's work. The valley, inspired by his vision, began to change. They built the irrigation channels. They found a pass through the mountains. His small, contained world began to grow. Finn learned the greatest lesson of all. The power of thinking big isn't about achieving an impossible goal. It is about setting a goal so big that it forces you to become a bigger person to even attempt it. The map to the moon was impossible, but it was the only map that could lead him beyond the valley.